welcome to Horror Movie Night. My name is Matt, and I am joined as always by Scott and Adam. We all agreed that if it was a three-man fight to the werewolf display, because we all have some questions regarding wolf cocks that need to be answered. Bearing that, Adam would head for the killer lumberjack because he'd fit right in with them. Scott would head to the vampires because he already eats people and wants to meet vampire girls. And I would head to the Phantom display to infuse the place with some more contemporary music. And we are discussing Waxwork as picked by our co-host, Scott. Scott, why did you pick Waxwork?
Why wouldn't I pick Waxwork is the better question.
This is very true.
This movie kills. I love this movie. This is not the first time I've seen it. I've seen this movie like probably 10 times now. And it's just fantastic. Everything about this movie is just ridiculous, totally over the top. And it does not need to be like too tongue-in-cheek while still being tongue-in-cheek and funny. So, I don't know. It has something to do with those 80s horror flicks that were kind of meta, but, you know, still endearing without being fucking annoying. So, quick little story time. The first time I saw it, it was on like Channel 8 or something, whatever one of the main local TV channels are here in Northeastern Ohio. I was, I think, 12 or 13, and it was a Sunday afternoon in November, and there are these two guys named Big Chuck and Little John. They're pretty famous in the area, and they would always do, you know, like matinee horror and like crappy sci-fi flicks on Saturday and Sunday afternoons. I don't know if it was both or just Sunday afternoons, but I was home alone, and I watched this movie, and I turned it on right before the werewolf scene, and it was super intense for like 12-year-old me, and I had to like, after it was over, I had to go outside and catch a breather and everything like that. But I can just remember, I was like, man, this movie's really intense, and I don't think I saw the rest of it at that time. And then, you know, I saw it again in high school, and I've watched it, I don't know, every couple years as an adult. But every time I appreciate it more and more because it's a really fun movie. I think I really love this movie, and it had been a couple years since I had seen it last, and I watched it yesterday for the podcast, and yeah, this is probably the best pick I've ever done in the entire 3 years that we've been doing this this discussion group.
Well, I always remember that this movie had like the coolest VHS cover.
It's good, but I don't know if it's the coolest. I think that in my time, like being a horror nerd in the last 4 or 5 years, I've seen better ones that I never knew about.
But as far as like being a 12-year-old walking through the video store in the horror section, this was definitely one of those covers that I always got sucked over to because it had that little tattoo guy with the open door and like all these weird twisted wax faces behind the door and shit. Like, it was a really cool VHS cover. I actually remember I rented this for like a birthday party sleepover because I was born October, so pretty much every birthday party sleepover was horror movies. And
Yeah.
we didn't. I remember we didn't love it back then. Like, we thought it was okay, but I don't remember liking it that much as a kid. And then I revisited it in college, like using Netflix when Netflix had first come out. I'm like, oh, Waxwork's on Netflix. Let me have them send that to me so I can rewatch it. And that's when I really fell in love with the movie. Because I got more of the humor, and I appreciate it a lot more of the pacing. But before we blow this movie all over the place, let's jump into what the movie is actually about. So the movie starts off with this pretty sweet theft scene that involves a dude's head being shoved into a fire. And then immediately credits.
It pretty much sets the stage for the entire movie because there's a lot of head trauma in this movie.
Yeah, really, no shit. And we get some sweet like Big Bang, or not Big Bang, but big band music at the beginning there.
The music throughout this movie is pretty awesome because it's definitely like purposefully not scene appropriate a lot of the times, and I kind of dig that.
Yeah.
We're slowly introduced to our main teenagers, as well as this Waxwork that is owned by... He tells the girl his name's Mr. right?
No, it's not necessarily that he's telling her that. He's like flirting with her. And when she calls him Mister, he says that kind of like incredulously, like, "Oh, you're calling me Mister?"
So he wants to take some broken wings and learn to fly again.
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
Kyrie eleison, through the darkness I must travel.
I'm so glad that we both were like Mr. songs. So I have to say that these teenagers are like some of the most obnoxious teenagers in a horror film since Ghoulies.
Dude,
But it's on
the
purpose.
fucking worst. So bad.
It's on purpose though, so it's okay.
No, it's totally on purpose. I would never say that it wasn't, but yeah, they are like super fucking annoying. So that like it's kind of good because it immediately sets you up for like, man, I can't wait to see some of these fucking kids just go. But then, so they go to the Waxwork after the flirty scene with the Mr. thing, and two of the teenagers end up discovering that if you cross the velvet rope at the Waxwork, you actually enter into the display, which causes the one guy to get attacked by a werewolf and then shot by a werewolf hunter, and the other one to end up in a castle full of vampires. And I like how they kind of become part of the Waxwork display. There's that really cool transition where he gets shot, and then like he's laying on the ground dying, and it's almost like it freezes for just a split second before it zooms out and you're back in the Waxwork. Like, it was a really cool cut. And this movie is actually filled with really, really well done cuts.
It really struck me this most recent time watching it that the budget for this movie was way higher than I ever realized. Like, I always was like, oh man, this is just like, some B horror movie, but they threw a crap load of money at this movie, I think.
Yeah, no, it's a really, really well done practical effects. That's probably the high point of the movie, is that they shoot their wad all over the fucking practical effects, and the head squashings, the creature designs, everything is like they're going full tilt.
Well, and it's both of these scenes are pretty fantastic. The werewolf scene has probably the biggest laugh that I've gotten out of the movie, where the werewolf dusts off his shoulder after being hit by a chair.
I love sassy werewolves. I think that sassy werewolves are quite possibly my favorite horror trope. I mean, because most werewolf movies seem to have that one little, like, oh no you didn't kind of move. It's fucking great.
And the vampire sequence is pretty awesome too, because there's just so much blood,
and there are so many great lines in that.
And then I love the impaled into the champagne bottle scene.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that was ridiculous. That was so ludicrous.
It was so ridiculous, but so glorious at the exact same time.
Apparently, that scene was supposed to be like 3 times as bloody as that, but so much of it got cut out by the MPAA. Like,
I would love to see an uncut version of this film. Holy shit!
Apparently, the crew said that it was the bloodiest thing that anyone's ever put on screen, and obviously not in the final version that we see. But yeah,
and also not now that Quentin Tarantino has been making movies.
Yeah, that's true. At the time,
fuck. Why did I just make a reference to Quentin Tarantino in my own movie pick? I feel like such a fraud.
So one of the things that's kind of that I realized is really depressing and says a lot about me is that David Warner is in this movie. He plays Mr., a.k.a. Lincoln.
Even the TGRI guy.
Well, okay, so this dude, if you look at his credits, he's got such an impressive film career throughout his life, but the only thing I remember him from when I watched this movie was My Best Friend is a Vampire.
Oh, that's something about you, not him, okay? That says
that's 100% me. All right, so at this point we kind of already knew this, but we now know that Mark, who's Zach Galligan from Gremlins, is the main character. So he informs 2 police officers that he suspects that some shady things are afoot at the Waxwork. So the one officer goes into the mummy display while the other is killed by the butler. And that leads to this amazing sequence where Lincoln yells at the butler and he just immediately starts crying.
He breaks down and sobs. And this guy is like 7'5" too, and he's like collapsed in a chair, like weeping like a child.
It literally would be like comparative to like if Gomez Adams yelled at Lurch and Lurch just started crying uncontrollably.
Yeah, that's definitely the implication there, I'm sure.
So it turns out, and this is okay. So the thing that's great about this movie is that the plot line actually gets way more complicated than it has any business being, but it's so much fun that it doesn't really matter. Because it turns out that Lincoln is the person in the beginning of the movie who shoves the guy's head into the fire. And because it's a movie and the screenplay writer feels like this is the best route to go, that man also turns out to be Mark's grandfather. So Lincoln stole a bunch of artifacts of the 18 most evil people that have ever lived and made wax statues in their honor, and that they have, if a soul is sacrificed to every single one of those displays, then it will lead to some type of voodoo end of the world. Which just sounds so ridiculous saying that out loud, that entire sentence.
And it's also not actually what's happening in the fucking movie. That's not at all.
Okay, so
wait, Adam. Do we need to talk about that right now, or should we wait for Matt to finish his little synopsis?
No. Let me correct me where I'm wrong here.
No. Matt's not wrong. The movie is wrong.
Oh yeah.
It says that, but that's not true. That's not actually what's going on.
So the final battle in this movie is fucking incredible. So basically all of the Waxworks have been given the different souls, and so they all come to life, along with all of the people who've been killed in those Waxworks, and it's just this full-out fucking battle sequence. And then at the end of... What'd you say?
It's genius, and there's so many nods to so many other movies. I mean, the best nod, I think, is the nod to Little Shop of Horrors, because that movie is only a couple years old when
it's
this
2 years old when this is out.
2?
Yeah.
So that is like a super hyper meta nod that they're like, hey, this is a recent movie that was pretty popular, because it even says "freed me," and she tosses a dude in it and then like dusts her hands off, like, oh, that's just so goofy. I don't know. I'm sorry to anybody watching this movie that didn't watch it as a kid, because I don't know. I feel like so much of what I love about this movie is just bound up in that time, in the 80s in particular, and it's just not fair. Like, there's no way for me not to just fucking lose my shit about how great this film is.
Well, listen, I watched this for the first time today. I'd never seen it before, but I love stuff from the 80s so much, and I got all the references that were in here, and it was just so cheesy and fun and ridiculous that I loved it. It was fucking great.
Well, okay, so the very end of the movie, everything is saved except for this zombie hand that crawls out of the rubble, and I'm pretty sure that this ties into the sequel, but I don't remember how or why.
Some girl gets attacked by the hand at the beginning of the sequel. I'm assuming it's Sarah's character, the brunette that makes it out. But it's been so long since I've seen the sequel, and I don't think I ever actually watched the entire sequel because it's pretty god-awful.
I wouldn't even say it's god-awful. I think it's just a very mediocre sequel to a really good movie, but people fucking love it for some reason. Like,
Waxwork 2?
I've seen people rate Waxwork 2 higher than Waxwork 1, and I feel like the only reason is because Bruce Campbell's in it, so they feel like they have to give it all this praise.
Fuck that. That's so stupid.
Because it's not that amazing. It's not that great. It's a perfectly fine comedy, but it doesn't even feel like an actual sequel to Waxwork because it's all about time travel. Anyway, according to Wikipedia, they said that this is the first ever self-referential horror film, and I don't even think that's like moderately true.
Self-referential?
Yeah.
Like it references stuff that happened earlier on. Isn't that just called story writing?
Well, I think they mean like self-aware or
like stuff. Kind of meta.
Yeah, but it's absolutely not. Like,
no, not at all.
Like, I would say, like, the Abbott and Costello movies would have been...
super referential, yeah.
Or, I mean, even if you just want to stick with, like, 80s horror movies, like, 81, I think, was when Student Bodies came out, and that was already doing, like, the meta thing with slasher films, so...
Yeah.
So, Wikipedia, not a good source for information today.
This must be why I wasn't allowed to use it as a source in college.
Because of your essay on
Damn
Waxwork.
it, I didn't get honors in my senior thesis because I used fucking Wikipedia as my number one source when I was writing about Waxwork.
You use Wikipedia? I usually just get my maid to write my essays for me.
Dude, how hard would that have been to write 60 pages on Lithuania in like Nazi occupation in the 80s. Like, you couldn't bullshit that. And
Okay,
she's
so-
like, I don't speak good English, and then she speaks fine English to him. That's what broke my suspension of
I was
disbelief.
going
Sorry,
to say,
guys.
so speaking of Nazis in this movie, there's something that doesn't sit right with me, whether it's a college class or a high school class, about just like a Nazi flag just like on display in the middle of the classroom.
Yeah, that's odd, but let's really, I mean, in the grand ridiculousness of this film, I don't know if that really even should be a blip on your radar.
The only other note that I have is I literally just have written in quotes, "Suffer? I'm living in America."
So, I mean, we can go on to the notes, because I'm pretty sure notes are going to be pretty silly right now.
About 50% of this discussion.
It's just notes.
Yeah.
Adam, you take it away, and I'll just add in what I really need to say about this flick.
Yeah, because I pretty well break it down like scene by scene. Because I mean, it's pretty like you go display, 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 right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so notes on the Waxwork.
Welcome to
the
Waxwork!
We were expecting more. Okay, so Fireplace Death is fucking hilarious, but it's like Happy Birthday to Me levels of bad. It's
Dude, wait. Pause. Let's keep a running tally while you're doing this of all the fucking head trauma that happens in this film.
You know what? I know you told me like there was going to be like a lot of decapitations and stuff, and I meant to mark them all down. I lost track. Like,
There are so many. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
it was too fucking many, man. Okay, yeah, it's like Happy Birthday levels of bad, right? Like, because his face goes in the fire and then immediately cuts to the guy running around and stealing stuff from the cases. So the way it's cut, it looks like he pushed him in the fire and then immediately walked away from him. Why didn't he just take his fucking head out of the fire? Like, I can't, never mind, it doesn't matter. The first acting in this scene where they're at breakfast, it like really sets the tone for how the acting is going to be in this movie, and it's bad. It's really fucking bad. It's like self-aware bad, but still like hard to watch though, because it's really fucking cheesy bad.
And I really could not give two shits about the interpersonal relationships that happen in this movie.
Oh, I don't care either. Just get to the Waxwork, start getting killed.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a lot of stuff to say about like character development later on, because they did some weird fucking shit in this movie.
But hey, the best part of the character development is when the main dude, whatever the hell his name is like, anyone else want a drink? And he's supposed to be a rich guy, but he holds up like a fucking colonial club leader or whatever, and I'm like, dude, really? You couldn't splurge for something better? Come on.
I got Old English, if anybody wants it.
Malt liquor is how us rich college students roll.
Yeah. So then he takes like a 4-ounce shot of coffee and leaves the house. We meet the girls. One's a virgin and one's slutty. Taken to the utmost fucking extreme that you can imagine.
But those eyebrows, though.
Yeah, those fucking eyebrows, man.
Dude, watching this in 2015 was basically like looking at my Instagram feed. It is insane. Like, every girl dresses like that now.
Where it's come back around full circle, man. The dude that's running the Waxwork looks like he's dressed like Willy Wonka when we first meet him. And he's got... we have the Nazi enthusiast college professor, which is just a weird little added touch in there. It's supposed to be funny, but and that made me feel awkward. I was like, ooh, why would you even show up to this fucking class? We have this weird slow motion football scene that's intercutting like the conversation that they're having on the bleachers.
Yeah.
But it's like the weirdest football I've ever seen. People are getting like vaulted into the air and just doing all this crazy shit.
And I thought that it was going to be foreshadowing for something else. It's not.
No, not at all. It looks like if a bunch of gymnasts did football and they're all like flipping over each other and doing
like fucking plies and shit.
The main character's name is Mark, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Mark, it's just random thing. Mark says, "Has anybody got a match?" And China is like, she's like, go fucking fuck yourself, you fucking piece of shit. I was like, what? Where did that come from? What the fuck?
All the quote unquote friends are so nasty to each other that I feel like they all must be autists because they like can't have any other friends to hang out with or something. I have no idea why they even spend time together.
The only semblance of friendship I saw was like when the guy kept going, "This man's in pain. Let's stop talking about it," and then he'd bring the conversation back around to it again. I was like, "What the fuck are you doing? What a shitty friend you are." Suffer. That's a Bad Religion album.
It's a good Bad Religion album.
It is. I think it's their best one. There's absolutely zero reason that they should be fucking scared of this Waxwork place. There's nothing to indicate that they should be scared of it. It's located in the suburbs. It's a fucking mansion, and it's a weekday night. Why are they so scared? What are they worried about? I love that little midget guy. I love him so much. I wanted him to be a bigger presence in the movie, but
dude, he's only 4'2". No, that's being
that guy's lucky if he's 4'2", man.
Yeah, I think he might be 3'2". But by the way, the part where he freaks the fuck out on the Lurch wannabe, he's like, "I only come in when I ring you," and he like screams at the guy. Oh, I just loved it. It's so ridiculous.
It's so good, man. So then we're in the actual Waxwork, and we're seeing some of the displays, right? Every once in a while, they would do a close-up on one of the displays, and they would be moving very slightly. You can see somebody's arm so waver. Funny. Yeah, you see like an arm waver, or somebody's head just like tilt a little bit. I was like, "Oh, is that?"
There's a lot of breathing. You know, I wanted to. The first 2 or 5 times I saw it, I noticed it. This time, I was like, "Hey, did they just do a really bad cut?" And then I saw them do it all the time. I'm like, it must be on purpose. Do you think it was intentional?
I thought it was going to come back later. Like, I mean, obviously they all are alive at the end, but also they are all made of wax. So it wasn't until the magic happened that brought them to life that they weren't made of wax anymore. So no, I don't think it was intentional, or the screenwriter just fucked up. On the IMDb trivia, it says that the guy that wrote it in 3 days.
He did a bang-up job for writing that in 3 days. I couldn't write this good of a movie in 3 days.
He has a couple of plot holes and stuff in there, but that's...
Who cares? We're not watching this or fucking Wolf Cop for plot holes. We just had this conversation on Facebook earlier.
Alright, so the first display is Wacky Werewolf Cabin. I hate this kid. I hope he dies soon. He does within the next 3-4 minutes, so that's good. The hunters come in and they see this werewolf running around, and the one hunter turns to the other hunter and he goes, "Quick, give me the silver bullets." That's it. That's as much emotion as he can muster for this movie.
Note to self, don't do Quaaludes right before fighting a werewolf.
And then they drop the bullets, and they're both just like, fuck, now we gotta pick those up. Shit. Just nothing. So nonchalant, not worried about this. They were nonchalant until that one got split right down the fucking middle. Then he was freaking out. Jesus.
That might be the best werewolf kill I've ever seen.
Oh, it's so good. It starts as just like a head crush and quickly blossoms into like a right fucking top to crotch, just rip right down the middle. Yeah, that was good. And then the wolf gets shot, and the kid gets shot, and I don't know. I was kind of like fizzled out there, but it was okay. Our second display, China's going to a fancy vampire dinner party. I guess later on you realize that they're like hypnotized into wandering into these displays. They can't really stop themselves. I mean, it makes you think like, oh, the guy lost his lighter, but I mean, he would have gone in there either way because he kind of being entranced into doing it. But I was still trying to figure out why she moved into the display, and as far as I could tell, she was gonna like molest that wax model. That was her intention. She like looked at him, she's like, "Oh, hello, handsome." Looks left, looks right. She goes, "Ha, ha, ha," and steps over the rope. I was like, "Whoa, what the fuck are you doing?"
So I just want to say that the vampires in this movie are a bit there's a bit of creative license as far as that lore goes, because I don't know any vampires that eat raw meat. I mean, maybe it's just a vehicle for the sauce makes the dish comments and just a kind of a grossed out piece, but that always kind of struck me as a little odd. I mean, I think that's hilarious because I love when he's like, yes, steak tartare.
I love when he's like, it's a little salty.
Yeah, that's not all. It's a little salty.
They ask her if she likes raw meat. From what we've learned about this character throughout this movie, I'd say she loves it.
Yeah, and she eats the whole thing. Like, that's fucking gross, man.
That's my next note, man. I'm like, vampire shit aside, all this shit aside, there's no way that chick just sat down and ate like a pound of raw flesh like it was nothing. Like
even if it was only a half pound, maybe like a cup and a half, that's pretty fucking gross.
I couldn't get through that. Fuck that.
Obviously, neither could I, so let's commiserate.
Yes. And then she's running around, and it's a really good thing that everybody is speaking in expository dialogue, or else she'd be awfully confused. She's like, it's me, Charles, your husband.
Yeah.
Like, everybody got to explain where they are and what they're doing throughout every scene.
I think that's funny. I think that's like referential, but I mean that's just me.
All the physical humor with his leg getting hurt over and over and over again is pretty fucking funny. Like when the guy jumps across the table and lands right on his leg, and he's just freaking out. Like, and then the three vampire girls corner her, and I'm like, oh, she's for sure dead. I mean, it's 3 against 1. You're backed into a corner. And nope, she's just like, poke, 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 you're all dead. That was pretty easy. That was a sick little combo kill you got there. That was pretty good. And then he eats her, yeah. So then John, I guess the like, whatever, roided out football guy comes in and he's looking around for them and just gets tossed right into that Phantom of the Opera display, which is fine, but I wanted to see how he died. Would it be a car bomb, a lightning bolt, a plunger to the face? I want to know. What's it going to be?
Dude, how hard do you think Matt's dick would have been if when everything came to life, the fucking Phantom was like, life at last?
If he came to life and he had that fucking piano right in front of him, he just started playing Faust, and I would have lost it.
I would have lost my shit.
We all would have lost our shit. That would have been amazing.
I keep listening to that fucking soundtrack.
Me too. I didn't for weeks, and I'm back on it again. Everyone that's listening, listen to the Phantom of the Paradise soundtrack. So fucking good.
Future retroactive episode of Horror Movie Club for sure. Or Horror Movie Night.
Jesus Christ, man. Do you think that I should save my metal cover of Life at Last for then? Because I have it on my to-do list for this month to finally make that happen.
Yeah, let's save it for them. We'll do it as a bonus episode.
Okay, how long do I have to wait? Because I really don't want to wait too long.
Well, you just do it, and we'll listen to it, and then we'll just tell everyone how awesome it is and get them all hyped.
Yeah, when it's ready, we'll do the that'll be when we do that retroactive episode.
Okay, imagine at the gates singing that song. That probably means nothing to you, Matt, but maybe Adam gets it. Anyway, continue your notes, bro.
The bad cop is also a pretty badly acted cop. Pretty terrible.
He's no guy from Alligator, though.
Oh, what was that? What was that? That's a mating call. Another retroactive future episode.
I think that should be the first one.
Suggested reading for canon this week is Mein Kampf, and we expect a 40-page essay on what's great about dictators.
60 page.
Sorry. Yep.
Yeah, for his insolence.
Yes.
Man, I cannot get away from Nazis in horror movies because I finished... well, we'll get to this, but I watched more of the fucking Pumpmaster movies. So over the course of the last 10 days, I've watched like 15 movies with Nazis in them. I can't handle it.
But you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. You're almost done the
I'm
Puppet
almost fucking done.
Then the cop just straight carves a huge chunk out of that chick's face.
Yeah, what? And he's like, nah, I don't want to touch it. I don't want to touch it. Oh, fuck it. Like, that totally invalidates any DNA that he would be trying to get from her.
Right? And he's like sneaking in there, too, to try and like do this sneakily. Like, That's really fucking obvious. The second you're gone, they're gonna go.
Take it from like the inner thigh under the dress or something. And then the real fucking annoying part is that he starts smoking a cigarette. Like, I snuck in. Who cares if I get out without being caught? I'll smoke this cigarette.
Dude, people are never not smoking cigarettes in this movie. It's constant people smoking. It's fucking crazy.
This triggers me.
Does the mummy scene come directly after this?
I believe so, yeah.
Yes, alright. So we get another couple head pops there. And then he gets thrown into the sarcophagi to die with that chick, which is pretty brutal.
All right. So that scene reminds me, because I was that kid who would walk around the video store and like really fucking inspect every VHS cover. Of all of the gnarly shit that happens in this fucking movie, the only image on the back of the cover is
the mummy.
Is the mummy with its hands open, and that was probably a huge reason why I didn't rent this movie right away. Was like, there's got to be more than that, right? Like,
why wasn't they put the werewolf? The werewolf is the first one, and the werewolf is one of the better creatures.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, it just seems so arbitrary and strange.
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Man, we tend to watch a lot of movies where people sell their soul to the devil, eh?
Yeah.
I think it's because it's a pretty common trope.
Yeah, that's true. We get a close-up of the vat of wax, so we definitely know somebody's going in there before the end of the movie.
Oh, which just looks like a bunch of milk. I mean, personally, I'd rather fall into a vat of wax.
boiling
Dude,
milk or boiling wax.
Hot milk or hot wax, you choose.
If either one is boiling, I don't want to go in fucking either. Warm milk or warm wax, I think I'll take the wax, but... Okay. Here's my biggest issue with this movie. They say that they've got those 18 things from 18 of the most evil people in all of history. And that's when they start... This is the point in the movie where they introduce the Marquee de Sade. Totally makes sense. Totally shitty guy. Piece of garbage. Real evil. Why is there a pack of zombies? Why is there an alien? What did the Wolfman do that he's the most evil creature? What did Frankenstein do? Frankenstein didn't do anything.
Seriously, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. Don't try and talk about the plot holes in this film, because it's totally null and void, irrelevant. Yeah, you get to see every kind of monster. Don't complain.
I'm like, alright, so this movie doesn't even know what its own plot is about. Whatever, I'm still going with it. Alright, then we get the whole scene with the Marquee de Sade, which I would like if we could just glaze right over it and never talk about it, because it made me uncomfortable. It was super fucking weird, and I hated every minute of it.
I hate the amount of time that they spend on the Marquee. Like, he's not even that entertaining.
No, right? Make the werewolf or something the main end bad guy that you have to defeat. Don't give me this weird fucking shit with because they said the 18 most evil people in history, and then they had to introduce an actual historical figure. But god damn, they could anybody else except that. That was so fucking. And he's all like talking about orgasms at the end of the whip, and the chick is like begging to be beat more. I'm like, where is this? What movie am I watching now? Like,
that didn't arouse you?
Well, yeah, I was hard as a rock, but I hated myself for it.
Oh, fucking, I hate you, Adam, so much.
Matt only hates you because he masturbated furiously during that part.
Oh, he thought we were all going to commiserate. And we were like, yeah, bro, me too.
Can we just talk, side note, for a second about all the awesome clothes that Sarah wears? They're like, oh, let's make her a good girl. And so they dress her up like she's from the 50s. That made me hard. So, yeah, there we go.
So did you also notice that after the whipping, she had 0 fucking marks on her back whatsoever?
No. I thought that too. And then when you see a close-up of them actually go through the portal, like I love how back in the day, back in the 80s before CGI was like affordable, they would hand paint celluloid. That was so cool. Like, like the blue when he puts his hand through, and all that. But yeah, when they walk through it, to get her out of the marquee, she actually does have cuts on her back, but it's just not a whole lot of blood, and so it doesn't look like it.
Yeah. Okay, makes sense. And that effect actually was pretty good. It was pretty smooth every time. This wasn't no like Lawnmower Man or fucking Brain Scan or something with like horrible painted on lightning shit. It looked alright. It looked pretty good. And then their two friends show up, and like I guess is there some sort of weird time warp within the displays because they die like bang bang just like that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty sure that it's that time moves much faster inside them.
Yeah. But we're left with the knowledge that a woman just went in there and got beat to death by the Marquee de Sade, so that's real.
Okay, quick question for you two guys. I'm pretty sure that the two assholes that come in, and the one guy gets eaten by the zombies and the other girl is the one who goes in the marquee. Are they their punk friends that, like...
Yeah, they're the ones at the beginning that were like, let's watch a horror movie, and she's like, oh, that's an original idea, hon. Like,
yeah, okay, I just wanted to make sure. I thought it was, but they just don't look the same, and you never get a close-up of them until, like, the very end. Also, that was so dumb when the chick, like, when everybody comes to life and the chick who got killed by the marquee is, like, quote-unquote evil now, and she's like, oh, Mark, I know you always wanted me. Like, that comes out of left field and is so stupid and unnecessary.
Right? Like, it was supposed to be that you go in there to be some innocent virgin sacrifice, so why do you come out as some weird, like, sexed up, fucking, submissive pervert thing? I don't look for plot holes in this movie, Scott.
I know, it's hard. Just like your penis was after that scene.
Yeah, Alright, so now all the displays are coming to life, and we never really got a close look at a lot of them, but there's, like, aliens and killer babies, and...
the killer baby was hilarious because somebody fucking kicks it!
Yeah, they, like, kick it, it lands in a cage, and then they blow it up with a shotgun. And, like, yeah!
Does that count as head trauma? I'm pretty sure it counts.
Yeah, I must have, yeah.
I think we're in double digits here.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
I mean, if you hit a baby with a shotgun, no matter what, you're going to get head trauma on that baby.
Note to self.
So now we're at the end fight scene. Super fucking ridiculous. We get all that shit. Like, the dude in the wheelchair is running around stabbing people with a sword. And I'm like, fully functional, able-bodied people are getting killed left, right, and center. That guy makes it all the way to the end, man. I guess it's his super cool racing stripes that he put all over his wheelchair. That's keeping him.
How did he have time to get everybody there and then make that stupid, like, cardboard add-on to his stupid wheelchair? Who cares? It doesn't matter. It's well-deserved comedic relief in this film. That bugged me the first time I watched it as, like, in high school. I was like, come on, really? This is killing my buzz. But then I've come to appreciate it.
I called the wax vat because we get Lincoln.
The wax vat.
The wax vat. Yeah, we see the little guy get killed. We see Lurch get stabbed ever so slightly in the chest. We also see I'm dead now. We also see his butler get very, very, like, just a flesh wound stabbed in the chest, and they have a scene where he's like, well, it's too late for me now. And I'm like, you barely even have a scratch, dude. Like, what are you talking about?
You don't think that's funny? I thought that was hilarious.
I don't know. Maybe I'm missing a lot of the intentional... I mean, I was still laughing at it anyways, but I was laughing at it thinking that the filmmakers had no idea why that I would be laughing at it.
Okay, for sure, the butler was intentionally ridiculous. I promise you.
Okay. And then it closes out with "It's my party and I'll cry if I want to," which I don't understand. Why did they use that movie or that music? I don't get it.
I don't either. There's not enough 50s references in this movie to warrant it. What I would have loved is if they would have had shit tons of 50s references, because they could have done that with, like, they could have had all the Universal monsters, and they could have, I don't know, it could have been more of a pastiche towards that style, plus Sarah's outfits. And then they could have had, like, just 50s music. I mean...
This movie could have even taken place in the 50s and 60s, and it wouldn't have really changed that much about the actual film.
Dude, that would have been amazing. Let's remake it.
Is this going to be the segment where we try to remake the movie we just watched?
If that becomes, like, a regular thing with every movie that the three of us are jerking off about, I have no problem.
Okay, so, fade in, close-up shot. It's a sign. It says, "Welcome to Cheeseburger Town." All right. We go down to the local mall. Everybody's playing DDR and moon boots.
Everybody
Yeah.
talks shitty slang.
So, I have my final synopsis here, and it just says, fucking awesome.
So all in all, a good pick on well, our opinion is it's a good pick, which usually means that the rest of the people over on the Reddit Horror Club are gonna fucking hate it. But
How is that possible? There's nothing to hate about this movie. It is so, even the bad shit is so middle of the road.
I think
mean,
the
come on.
Facebook group people are gonna love it. I just think that sometimes the Reddit people like to nitpick things that we specifically like.
Well, we spent the last 3 years stomping on all their picks.
It's just fair. It's only fair. Yeah.
So do we want to talk about what we watched this week?
Oh, hell yes.
All right. Do we want to save Scott for last again since
We
he's
always
been
want to save me
suffering?
for last.
All right. Let's start with Adam.
I finished season 1 of American Horror Story, and it was
You put
okay.
yourself through the entire first season of that?
Full first season, and it almost makes it worth it for the last episode. There's an ending in the last episode where I was like, you know what? That kind of made it worth. Oh, it's still going. Oh, there's 3 more fucking endings. Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. This sucks.
You gonna
and then
watch season 2?
I've started into season 2, regrettably already.
Wait. Were you inspired by my desire to put myself through the entire Puppet Master series, and you're doing the same thing with American Horror Story? Because yours has way more dedication, and you have way more free time than me too.
I'm just punishing myself, I guess. I don't fucking. I'm the Marquee.
You're punishing yourself for that fucking awkward boner. During that.
Yeah. It's not. Why do people like this fucking show though? Like, I don't quite understand it. It's not that.
Because it's like easily marketable. It's kind of like just creepy enough, but it's got a lot. It's just It's basically like the kitchen sink of like horror TV, but you don't have to like really follow anything because I feel like there's enough. I mean, I don't know. I watched enough episodes to feel like there was a lot of exposition that was like last week on American Horror Story, but like in so many words. So I think that it's kind of like watching sports, but with monsters.
I would watch sports with monsters. I don't know if I'd watch American Horror Story.
Dude, do you guys remember that cartoon where they were like mutants, but they were a football team?
Well, there was the video game, wasn't there?
Mutants.
You'll have to post that in the discussion thread because I have no fucking clue.
Yeah, I remember I can't remember what it was called. I always forget the name, but there was definitely a horror movie high school TV series that like Rick Moranis had something to do with.
Mutant League, and it's based on the video game Mutant Football and Mutant League Hockey. Oh, it's bad. I cannot wait to post that in the threads.
Nice. And other than that, I haven't been watching much, but music plug, I've been listening to a lot of Father John Misty, and I've been enjoying that a lot. It's not, I don't think it's either your style, but maybe somebody else.
What is it?
It's weird, like Americana folk rock kind of stuff.
I
live in America, and I don't need Americana in my life.
See, I love like bluegrass and folk rock stuff, so I'll probably check that out. Actually,
I can't. That's not what it is. I can't properly describe it.
I'll check it out and decide for myself.
Have you not heard that song? Anyway. Have you not heard that song "Hollywood Forever Cemetery"?
No. I've been to the Hollywood Forever Cemetery.
Well, I mean, look up that song maybe and see if you like that. But yeah, that's it. So Matt.
All right, so after like 5 or 6 years or probably not that long, after like 3 or 4 years, I finally finished the entire series of Psych, and I liked it. I think it's a good show. I enjoy Psych. That's all I have to say about that. Weird Ass Movie Night, we watched Godzilla's Revenge, which is widely considered the worst Godzilla movie ever made, and that's probably right, but I still fucking love it. It kind of to tie in with what Scott's going to be discussing later, it's a clip show. It was the first Godzilla movie marketed to kids, and they didn't want to spend a ton of money, so they just took like 5 or 6 of the best fight scenes from the previous Godzilla movies and just reused the fight scenes and made it about a kid who has no friends, so he fantasizes going to Monster Island and hanging out with Godzilla. And that's the whole plot line for the whole movie. It's awful. But it's not as awful as The Hip Hop Witch, which I watched on Netflix.
What the fuck? Why do you do this?
I asked him the same fucking question.
Starring Eminem and Ja Rule, among
Dang.
various other
That's
rappers.
why I would fucking watch that just for the comedic value of seeing those two. Oh my god.
So the movie... So here's the confusing thing about The Hip Hop Witch, is that it was from that era where there was like 40 Blair Witch Project parody films all out at the exact same time. I remember specifically one called The Bogus Witch Project, starring Pauly Shore. And in the this particular film was a music video director made it, and you can tell that he did not talk to any of the rappers about what the Hip Hop Witch looked like. He would just have them tell stories of being haunted by the Hip Hop Witch. So none of them give it the same description of what this witch looks like. Like, it's all very dramatically different.
Dude, how did you leave out the fact that Vanilla Ice and Vitamin C are in this?
Okay, well, because I was trying to get to that. I mean, I can spoil the movie for you because it's not worth watching. But Vanilla Ice is
no
revealed.
one listening is going to watch this.
He is revealed to be the Hip Hop Witch.
Vanilla Ice is?
Yeah. But here's the thing.
Wouldn't she be the Hip Hop Warlock, though?
Okay, so here's the thing. What it all comes down to. So this guy is a music video director. So you'd imagine that he directed rap music videos if he's making the Hip Hop Witch, but you'd be wrong. The list of bands. This is just some of the bands that he's made music videos for: Agnostic Front, Alter Bridge, Anthrax, Dillinger Escape Plan, Fall Out Boy, Guns N' Roses, a shit ton of Hatebreed music videos,
So this guy's
Hawthorne
just
Heights,
he's taking a very long and expensive piss.
Cottonmouth
Yeah, he
Kings,
is.
Mayday Parade, Mudvayne.
We get the idea. I don't.
Yeah, and he made every Soulja Boy video. So yeah, the movie's garbage. But one of the good films that I did watch this week is on Netflix called Fat Kid Rules the World. It's Matthew Lillard's directorial debut, and it's way better than I thought it would be. It's about a fat kid who's suicidal, and he becomes friends with a pill-popping punk rock kid, and they decide to form a band together. And it kind of just has it's a cliche story of, like, two people who shouldn't be, like, the two unlikely friendships that help each other out or whatever. And also, BattleBots is on television again, and I've been watching it every single week on Hulu, and it's pretty fucking awesome. Scott, what did you watch this week?
So, as mentioned earlier, I finished the Puppet Master series. And it's shit. Puppet Master Legacy, I think that I have a new record for fastest movie watch, because that hour and 10 minutes got done in about 15. Because I just fast forwarded through to watch the discussions that go on in the cutscene before each cutscene. The Lara Croft wannabe girl, who is like Ms. Exposition, basically. Looked her up. She looked familiar. She wasn't familiar. Pretty fucking terrible in general, and she was overacting her way to nowhere. It was just really, really bad. And it tried to make continuity out of the previous 7 movies and still failed. At least they admitted the fact that Toulon was resurrected in part 2 and tried to turn some random chick into a full-size doll to live forever with him, and failed. Then I watched the other 2, 9 and 10, and Axis of Evil and Axis Rising. And the best part about those 2 movies is the fact that neither of them are very watchable, but I love the fact that between the 2 movies, there was only a 2-year span. One was 2010, one 2012. They got all new actors to play the remaining living characters, which is just ridiculous to me, because I'm like, what the fuck were the other 2 people doing? Like, were they really that? Their careers didn't get launched after doing Axis of Evil, so it's not like they were too busy to come and do that. So thank God I'm done with the actual Puppet Master movies. I am now submitting my senses to the grueling task of watching Demonic Toys versus Puppet Master while also watching Demonic Toys. I'm going to watch them in tandem, doing like 15-minute breaks away from the garbage that is the crossover to actually watch Demonic Toys, which is probably bad, but in a full moon type way. So
No, Demonic Toys is a decent enough movie, and both Demonic Toys and Dollman vs. Demonic Toys are like literally 70-minute movies. Like they're so fucking short and fast. But Demonic Toys, like the plot line is fucking garbage, but it's that early 90s full moon where they actually gave a shit about the special effects, which is like all but gone when you get to Demonic Toys versus Puppet Master, if for no other reason by how fucking neutered the Jack-in-the-Box character is in that movie compared to how badass he is in the original film.
Also, I mean, I haven't gotten super far in the Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys, but all of the puppets look like shit.
Yeah, no,
they look terrible.
Well, it was a sci-fi produced sequel, so like
I understand that, but the fact remains is that they like, I don't know how they could have made it look so bad, but they really.
Sorry, man, they dumped all their money into Corey Feldman.
Yeah,
I guess so.
Yeah.
So on 4th of July, Megan and I stayed in, and in true Patriot fashion, we watched a British spy movie called Kingman, The Secret Service, starring Colin Firth and Michael Caine and Samuel L. Jackson. It was ironic to the max that we were watching on 4th of July, and actually a really fun movie. I have also started watching, and I got sidetracked watching the rest of the Puppet Master movies, but Campfire Tales from, was that 1996?
It's awesome, right?
Well, I'm only in like 10-15 minutes right now, and I love the fact that fucking Dean Cain and Amy Smart are in the beginning.
Yeah.
Dean Cain? No.
But definitely Amy Smart. I can't remember who the guy is.
The guy. Oh no, not Dean Cain. James Marsden.
Yes.
And the funny thing is that I started watching that while Megan was not really watching, but she was editing photos. And the movie The Best of Me was on Hulu or Netflix or whatever. And I'm like, Megan, I'm pretty sure that James Marsden is on both of our screens right now. And she's like, what? Because James Marsden is the main character in that movie. And he was like in the Hookman part of Campfire Tales. And it was just a really weird coincidence. And so, yeah, I think that's everything that I've actually watched. I've watched the first 10 minutes of Piranha 2010 for Adam's upcoming pick. And so far, I cannot wait for everyone to die.
So I will, because I'm pretty sure you're watching Campfire Tales because it was on that long list of movies where I'm like, you should watch these. Yeah. Campfire Tales is genuinely, when I was a kid, like one of my favorite movies, like ranked right up there with Frighteners. I don't think
it's gonna be shit, right?
No, I still like Campfire Tales, but it like there's going to be no surprises. It's literally just them doing famous urban legends, like just filming famous urban legend stories. So like don't expect any crazy twists, but I will say that I remember the second story when I was a kid being pretty terrifying, and even now as an adult it's a pretty weird segment in like what's otherwise a pretty laid back type of film. Like so
it feels like it's pretty slow. Like I'm probably going to be using that fast forward button.
I don't think so. There's enough. The other thing is like there's at least 5 or 6 other like, oh shit, this person was in this. Like a lot of like before they were famous people make cameos in the story, so that's always kind of fun. It's not a terrible movie. I enjoy it, but I don't know. For a while, I was like, maybe I'll pick that for Horror Club, and I've slowly thought maybe not.
That stopped it before.
So that was our discussion of Waxworks. Next week we'll go from being sucked into wax museum displays and instead talk about being sucked into television sets when we discuss Videodrome. So thank you once again for listening to the Horror Movie Night podcast. As always, you can check us out on all the many different places that we exist on the internet, including our Facebook group or on reddit.com/horror club or our SoundCloud page. You can also follow us on Twitter at HMN Podcast. And feel free to send us an email at hmnpodcast@gmail.com. And most importantly, subscribe to us on iTunes if you haven't already, and send us a rating and review. So ask us whatever questions you really want. I'm trying to think of a good question to tie into Waxwork, though.
Whose wax wiener do you want to see?
Send us in a picture of your wax wand.
And always,
I want to see how your wax works, guys.
Special thanks as always to Geekscape.net for giving us the opportunity to be on their website. So check out some of their podcasts, including the Geekscape Games podcast, the Geekscape podcast, and there's this idiot who has a St. Mort Show thing on there too, but you don't really need to listen to that. Thanks, and join us again next week when we'll be discussing Videodrome.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.